Welcome to Offside Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into football's biggest stories. I'm Ethan, and joining me today is Jessica. Welcome, Jessica.
Hey, Ethan. It's great to be here today, especially when we're talking about a player as legendary as Luka Modrić. The man has done it all at Real Madrid. And now the question is, where does he go from here?
That's exactly it. Luka Modrić has had one of the most decorated careers in football. And now, as he approaches the twilight of his time with Real Madrid, the possibilities for his next move are endless. Today, we'll explore the potential options on the table and what his next steps could mean for his legacy.
Modrić is truly an icon. From his Ballon d'Or in 2018 to his critical role in Real Madrid's multiple Champions League titles, his career has been nothing short of extraordinary. But the reality is he's 39 years old now, and despite all of his success, he's at a point where he needs to decide whether to continue his career in Europe or look to a new challenge, perhaps in a less competitive environment.
Exactly. And this is where the speculation begins. His contract with Real Madrid is winding down, and as much as we've loved seeing him in the iconic white shirt, it looks like we might be approaching the end of an era. So, what's next for Luka? There's been a lot of talk about his next destination, but no official announcement yet. The front runner, it seems, is AC Milan.
AC Milan seems to be leading the race, and there's some real momentum behind this potential transfer. Reports indicate that Modrić has already agreed to personal terms with the club, and they're offering him a one-year deal to bolster their midfield. I mean, Milan is a club that's been steadily climbing the ranks in Serie A and Europe over the past few seasons. They've got a great squad, and Modrić could be the piece that takes them back to the very top of European football.
And let's not forget the extra spice this move could bring, a reunion with Zlatan Ibrahimović. Can you imagine those two together again? Their combined experience and leadership could be a game changer for Milan. It would be a very interesting dynamic to see two of the most charismatic and accomplished players in the game teaming up once again.
Exactly. Zlatan and Modrić have already shown they can work together in the past. And even though they have very different personalities and playing styles, they share a competitive spirit and a passion for winning. That chemistry could be a huge asset for Milan. But there's something interesting about the way Modrić is handling this move. He's taking his time. Instead of rushing into a decision, he's postponing his medical examination until after the Club World Cup to stay focused on his current commitments at Real Madrid.
That's classic Modrić, right? He's always been a professional through and through. Real Madrid has been his home for so long, and even though his future is up in the air, he's putting the team first until the very end. You have to admire that dedication.
Absolutely. And Modrić is also thinking about his family in this decision. There's a lot that goes into a move, not just the footballing side of things. It's about finding the right place for him, his wife, and his kids to settle down. If he moves to Milan, it would be an entirely different lifestyle, a different culture. It's not just about playing for another top club. It's about finding the right environment for the next phase of his life.
That's a great point, Jessica. Family plays a huge role in these types of decisions, and I'm sure that's been at the forefront of his mind. But AC Milan isn't the only option that's been discussed. There's also the possibility of a move to Major League Soccer, and New York City FC has emerged as a possible suitor. The MLS is an appealing option, especially with the 2026 World Cup coming up. But do you think that's something Modrić would consider?
It's definitely an option, and MLS has become an increasingly attractive destination for older players looking to wind down their careers. Playing in New York would be a huge deal for Modrić, especially with the growing profile of the league. But I think at this point, Modric's priority is continuing to play in competitive European football. He's a player who's used to the elite level of competition, and I just don't see him making the leap to MLS unless he feels he can no longer compete at that level. The lure of the 2026 World Cup might be strong, but Modrić has always been about more than just appearances and milestones. He wants to prove he can still compete at the highest level.
Right. And there's also the fact that he's always been a perfectionist. Modrić wants to play at the top of his game, and MLS, for all its growth, doesn't yet match the intensity of Europe's top leagues. That's why a move to Italy with Milan, or even staying in Spain or another top European club, makes the most sense. It allows him to maintain that high level of competition while still exploring a new challenge.
Exactly. And as much as a move to MLS might seem like a fitting ending to his career, he still has that hunger to be part of a team that's competing in the Champions League, the top league in Italy, or even the Premier League. I think he's driven by that desire to stay sharp, to compete, and to keep playing at the top. It's why Milan feels like the most logical step at this moment in time.
There's also the possibility of a return to Croatia. The idea of Modrić going back to Dinamo Zagreb has been floated in some circles, especially since he started his career there. But as we've seen, Dinamo Zagreb is not the powerhouse it once was. Although it would be a sentimental move, it might not align with Modric's desire to stay in competitive European football.
Right. While a return to Dinamo would be a beautiful way to end his career and give back to the club where it all started, it's unlikely he would want to finish his career in a less competitive environment. Modrić has always pushed himself to compete at the highest levels, and I think he'll want to continue that trend. That's why a move to a top European league like Serie A or even a Premier League club could make more sense.
And let's not forget the one-year deal that's reportedly on the table from Milan. That's an interesting option because it gives him the flexibility to see how he feels after one season. If it works out, he could extend his stay or even explore other opportunities in the future. But for now, it seems like this could be a perfect fit for him to continue playing at the highest level while also easing into the next stage of his career.
Exactly. And let's also talk about the impact Modrić could have at Milan. A player like him would bring not only technical skill, but also invaluable experience. He's been through everything, and a player of his caliber could help elevate Milan's younger players. He'd be a mentor, and with that type of leadership, Milan could become a real contender in Europe again.
No doubt about it. Modric's leadership would be a huge asset for Milan. His ability to read the game, control tempo, and make those crucial passes is something Milan has been lacking in recent years. With Modrić pulling the strings in midfield, they could become a real force to be reckoned with.
And, of course, let's not forget the fact that he could be a key player for Croatia in the 2026 World Cup. Even though he's getting older, Modrić has shown that age hasn't slowed him down. He's still one of the best midfielders in the world, and his experience could be invaluable to Croatia as they aim to make another deep run in the tournament.
That's a great point. Modrić will undoubtedly be a key part of Croatia's World Cup plans. And wherever he plays next, he'll want to make sure he's in the best shape possible to help his national team. The 2026 World Cup might be his final international tournament, and I have no doubt he'll want to go out on top.
And wherever he ends up, whether it's Milan, MLS, or even a return to Croatia, Luka Modric's legacy is already cemented. He's a player who changed the game, who showed what a midfield general can truly do. But we still have so much more to see from him. It's going to be exciting to follow his next move.
Luka Modrić is a living legend, and whatever happens next, we'll all be watching. That's all for today's episode of Offside Talk. Thanks for tuning in as we broke down Luka Modric's potential future and what it could mean for his legacy. Be sure to join us next time for more football insights and analysis.
Until next time, keep the ball rolling, and remember, sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination.
Take care, everyone.